Top 5 for
anxiety.
Rescue me and take me in your arms. It's a real problem. It's something we're seeing everywhere around the world. There is like a pandemic of loneliness, isolation, and anxiety. One of the best things we find when you're right in it, and it's something everybody knows, and it's kind of like the arnica of other remedies. It's rescue remedy. It's like the most basic thing, but it is this amazing thing from, we won't go into too much detail about it, but it's these flower remedies, vibrational remedies. They sound hokey as, like really they sound like beyond woo-woo, but my God, does rescue remedy work?
Yeah, my brother, I've seen rescue remedy work so many times, but the major one was when my brother was in a car accident with my mum, and he was, after the car accident happened, he was white as a sheet, almost green, looked like he was going to puke, and he was shaking all over his whole body, shaking like a leaf. And my mum pulled rescue remedy out of the glove compartment and gave it to him, and literally within 5 seconds he was just back to his normal self, and he just like processed the whole thing and went off and was completely round. But I just watched him turn from one colour to another in seconds. So I always have rescue remedy in my bag. I have the rescue remedy sleep beside my bed at night. It's really good for anxious kids as well, because a lot of kids have anxiety at night time. My kid would get like, oh, what if there's a robber, or what if there's a monster under the bed, those kinds of things. Rescue remedy night is like that little magic pill in a bottle, and it's so gentle and natural.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's an even better version of it, Julian Barnard's Healing Herbs. They use the Dr. Bach original formula, which instead of like a grape must alcohol solution thing, they use traditional organic brandy. So a very, very tiny amount of organic brandy. You're talking about like 1 drop, which is like a lot less than you'd have in a ripe banana if you gave your kid a ripe banana. So not a lot of alcohol content there, but great for them. And it's just when you're in that panic, and it has the amazing ability to just drop you back into your body, which is like what dogs do, right? They that shake it out thingy. And like, yeah, so rescue remedies, tippity top of the tree, and the other one that we love is holy basil, right? That is a massive one. Speaking of getting back into your body, what about the physiological sigh?
Yeah, it's interesting because just then when you were talking about panic and you were talking about dropping into your body, you went
yeah.
And that's something that our body does as a natural response to like, okay, I'm calming myself down. I need to take a bigger breath. I need to expand. I need to get into those stretch receptors in the diaphragm to stimulate the relaxation response. And so what we can do is we can kind of mirror that big sigh that we do when we need to calm ourselves down by doing a breathing practice called the physiological sigh. And it's a really, really simple one. It's one you can also do with kids, and it's not so wacky and weird that you can't do it in public as well. It's sort of one that you could do at your desk if you were just feeling like overwhelm was coming in. And so what we're going to do is we take a little sniff through the nose, then we take a bigger sniff through the nose, and then we breathe out through the mouth for a count of 6. So we in through the nose, out through the mouth. So you might do that 5 or 6 times, and just in the 5 or 6 times, it'll just give your body enough time to come out of that sympathetic state of fight or flight panic that's just starting to happen if you catch it at the beginning, and just bring you back into that calmer place. Or conversely, you can use it as a preventative. So you could, if you're someone who's going through an anxiety episode, or you know that you're someone who is just naturally just a little bit anxious, or you're having an anxious time at the moment with something that's going on in your life, you could kind of set an alarm on your phone, and maybe 3 or 4 times during the day, just do that as a preventative. It's just going to help whatever way that your stress response is rising up. You're just going to, no, we're okay. We're going to bring it back down again. And it's a really, really nice, simple tool.
Yeah, and we know that fundamental fact that like if your ratio breathing in to breathing out decides which part of your nervous system you set into. So your sympathetic being your fight and flight, and your parasympathetic being your like, I'm in like a relaxed digest phase. So if you breathe in for longer than out, you stay in that sympathetic thing. So that's going to get you into fight or flight. Or if you go, that gets you out of fight or flight. So that's why one of the reasons that physiological sigh is so powerful. Nice. So I feel woozy after that. I feel like I need stimulants. No stimulants. No sugar, no caffeine, no alcohol is going to dig you out of your anxious hole.
It's like prohibition.
Basically, that's the hardest edict we've ever had along here. But yeah, I think it is a little like prohibition, isn't it? Unfortunately, sugar really dysregulates your body's ability to maintain a sense of balance and awareness and inner equilibrium. It sends you onto this spike and trough thing with energy levels, and it also disrupts neurotransmitters, all sorts of stuff that's not great. Alcohol, likewise, again, it works on a lot of neurotransmitter function stuff, blunting inhibition, doing also, but also like setting you off on sort of paranoid things. In, you know, drugs in general, if you're suffering from anxiety, some people will find that there's a certain drug that they find that they think that really works for them, but by and large, that's not you able to self-regulate. That's you using something outside to regulate. So you're not really getting a hold on the problem. So we want to like internalize our capacity to control ourselves and our own anxiety states, so we can put ourselves into any situation, know that we're going to be able to be comfortable, right? So decreasing those things, caffeine likewise, and really increasing hydration. It's such a basic thing. But a lack of hydration in the body is a biological stressor. Biological stressors trigger cortisol. Anything that triggers cortisol triggers your anxiety. So that's a big thing as well. 2 liters minimum per day.
And so it's really about kind of making I always think of it as like, when you're looking at the sea, you can either be in those choppy waters, which is like amazing and also stressful, or you can be in those kind of calm, rolling, lapping waves. And that's what you want to be in if you want to manage your anxiety. So you don't want anything that's going to spike you up and down in any kind of a way. You just want to pick the gentle things, all those nice, gentle, slow inputs. And that's why meditation and yoga and breathing, all those things are so good, because they just constantly, it's like wrapping your body in a little bit of cotton wool.
Exactly. You're sending yourself safety signals every minute of the day as much as you can. I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. Tell your heart you're safe, tell your brain you're safe, just like inner monologue. Satanama.
Yeah, so Satanama is a yoga chant that we do, and we combine it with mudra, which just means hand movements. And in this situation, the hand movements are all to do with pointing onto the fingers. So we're touching into these fine motor movements. And why that's important is because it's really grounding us back into our body. So oftentimes when we're in anxiety, it's because our head is taking control of our body. So we're spiraling off into those lists of things that we don't like about ourselves, that we think other people don't like, things that we've done wrong, things that might go wrong. We're never in that present moment. It's always like things that have happened in the past or things that might happen in the future. And what we really want to do is ground back into this moment right now, because usually, no matter what's going on, this one moment we can handle. So when we press into our fingers, it just brings this touch, this sensation right here in our fingers that's like, this is my body. This is this moment. And a lot of it's about rhythm, inputting rhythm back into our body, because we've kind of often, with anxiety, we've lost our rhythm. And it could be like we were talking about those ups and downs. It could be that our body's lost its own rhythm. It could be our circadian rhythms. It could be our life rhythm with our partner, something like that. And our body thrives on rhythms in the organs, but also in the joints. So what we're trying to do is just trying to create a centered rhythm, nice and slow, nice and steady, nice and predictable. And the reason that I love this one so much, and I teach it to adults and kids, is because it's something that you can do anywhere that you are. And like often anxiety doesn't strike when you're at home and you're relaxed. It's not like, oh cool, I'll go do my yoga or my chanting. It's like you're in the middle of a busy place, you're in the middle of a workplace or a work meeting, and you can feel it rising up and you can't leave that room to go like calm yourself down. So this you can do just under your desk. You know, you can place your hands under your desk, or even on your, I often use it because I have like that white coat syndrome thing. I have to go to the doctor or hospital, I get really panicky. So I use it like where I'm just tapping my fingers onto my knees, even when I'm in a hospital waiting room or something. And you can choose to use the sound or not. If you do, when the little finger and the thumb come together, it's sa, and then it's ta, na, ma, sa, ta, na, ma, sa, ta, na, ma.
Is there a breath associated with that?
No, it's not really. I mean, like gentle, slow breathing ideally, but it's not like, because you should get kind of panicky. So it's just about, and you can say them out loud if you're somewhere that's private, or you can internalize that sound, but it's really about creating that rhythm. And satanama, when you break it down, it means like I am truth, or this is the truth. So it's really about coming back to like, the truth is that in this moment, in this body, I am okay.
Nothing tells you more that you're okay than our 5th tip, Shinrin Yoku. Nature bathing. Being in nature, touching, let's not say hugging, touching trees, feeling the wind on your face, the gentle kind of like calmness of the noises of nature, being away from the intensity of other humans, of electromagnetic things, of noisy traffic, of all of those things that interrupt and intervene and disrupt our own natural rhythms, is, we know it's really stabilizing, and in Japan they've made a science of it, right?
Yeah, and so in forest bathing, you know, they've done a lot of studies on it. Actually, it's kind of an interesting one. We don't have enough time to go into all the studies here now, but if you Google it, you'll find them straight away. And obviously very thorough, because because they're Japanese, so they've done it
They
in
don't
a
mess around.
beautiful way
Yeah.
that you can just find them really and access them easily. But basically they take people into the forest and they literally go and lie down like in a nice glade underneath a tree. Beautiful. We can do it here, obviously, you know, weather's slightly less predictable, so you might want to take a blanket, or you can just, what I always do is, you know, even go to the beach or the forest and just take your shoes off and be barefoot for a little bit. Connect with your feet to the rhythms. A lot of amazing studies about grounding. And, you know, if you aren't somewhere where you can just easily get to the forest or to a park or to nature, even in your garden, just standing barefoot at the end of the day, taking a few deep breaths, looking around. And it's even about the slowing down and the noticing, isn't it? It's like, oh, once you bring everything back in, all those parts of yourself that you sent out during the day and the busyness, once we bring it back to here and we start noticing like, oh, there's a little bee, oh, there's some ants, oh look, that plant's grown a little bit more today. It's that kind of slowing down and that gentle noticing like, oh, we're part of this nature, and nature goes at a really slow rhythm. So we really want to allow ourselves that space, that quietness and that slowness and the gentleness of communing with the rest of nature, you know. So being amongst trees and plants, we're getting that lovely oxygen rich environment, and all of the studies show that it calms your heart rate, it improves your immune system, lower blood pressure, you know, all of these kinds of things happen with forest bathing. So that thing that we used to be told by our parents, like, go outside and play, they were right.
I'm going to chuck in a little sneaky sixth top tip, because you said bees. You know, you can eat bees too, and B vitamins are such an important part of regulating our nervous system response to stress. They nourish our adrenal glands' stress hormone capacity, they dilate blood vessels and lower pressure on the heart, they manage some of our neurotransmitter stuff in our brains, loads and loads of good things. So if there's one thing to add on, it's a sneaky sixth top tip, get a B vitamin complex into you.
Do you have a top one? Your favourite?
Terra Nova's B complex I absolutely love. It's really like well formulated, no bullshit binders or fillers in the capsule, no rubbish. The things like the folate that's in there is methylated. You don't need to worry about why that is, or why that matters, but it does matter. So it's more absorbable essentially, and you have a nice addition of cordyceps and alfalfa and avena sativa, some nervous system nourishing herbs essentially, and good kind of nutritive things to add in. Terra Nova's B complex, love it.
Okay, so that's it. Top tips for anxiety. If you have any of your own that you use all the time, some of your kind of favorite tricks and things that help you maybe when you're in an active panic attack, or to help you to stave off those things, please pop them in the comments so that we can share them with everyone else as well.
Yeah. Bye.